Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Hi, folks. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. This is a Senate hearing with Attorney General Merrick Garland, and he's being questioned by Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri on how a gentleman and his son that protested an abortion clinic and were supposed to be brought up on charges, and even the local district attorney in Philadelphia, who's an ultra-progressive, said there's no case here. He refused to prosecute. The FBI and the DOJ, which he is head of as the Attorney General, decided to raid the guy's place with over 20 FBI officers, fully armed with tactical gear and long rifles, in early morning to this gentleman's wife and his 7 children. Terrified the crap out of all of them. And Josh Hawley wants to know why this was done. It's a fascinating exchange. Let's listen.
Chairman, Attorney General Garland, let me just ask you, does your department have a problem with anti-Catholic bias?
Our department protects all religions and all ideologies. It does not have any bias against any religion of any kind.
Well, now, I want you to watch. I'm not a body language expert. Watch where Merrick Garland looks when he's answering questions, and watch his hands and his fingers fidget like crazy. You can tell this guy is uncomfortable because he knows they're targeting especially the Orthodox Catholics, i.e. to listen to Latin Mass and such. It's fascinating stuff. Let's listen.
You could have surprised me, because given the resources that you are expending and the apparently intelligence assets that you are deploying against Catholics, it appears, and other people of faith, while simultaneously turning a blind eye while people are executed gang style on the streets of our cities, including in my home state, your answer frankly surprises me. Let's talk about the Mark Houck case, for example. You've been asked about this already today, and frankly, your answers really astound me. This is a case.
Now, look at over Josh Hawley's shoulder, over his right shoulder. You can see some of it a little bit. That's one of his aides. And as the questioning goes on, watch this guy smile like hell because they know they're right, and they know Merrick Garland is wrong.
Where a Catholic pro-life demonstrator, father, was accused of disorderly conduct in front of an abortion center. The local prosecutor, the Philadelphia district attorney, who is a Democrat, a liberal, very progressive, declined to prosecute. There was a private suit that got dismissed. And then after all of that, your Justice Department sent between 20 and 30 armed agents in the early morning hours to the Houck's private residence to arrest this guy after he had offered to turn himself in voluntarily. Here's the photo. Once again, you can see the long guns. You can see the ballistic.
This is about sending a message. How terrifying is that? Be afraid of your own government. Be afraid. You act a certain way, have a certain point of view. Be afraid of your own government. This is a third world country nonsense. Using force and power to stifle people. It's disgusting.
Shields. You can see that they're wearing bulletproof vests. Why did the Justice Department do this? Why did you send 20 to 30 SWAT-style agents and a SWAT-style team to this guy's house when everybody else had declined to prosecute and he'd offered to turn himself in?
Determinations of how to make arrests under arrest warrants are made based by the tactical operators in the district. They are not.
But you surely looked into it by this point.
Oh, no, it must be the local district guy. It wasn't me. Of course he knew about it. You think they would have raided this guy? So they think he's a religious zealot without the okay of the Attorney General? They must think we're all stupid.
Right. You know the answer, surely.
All I know is what the FBI has said, which is that they made decisions on the ground as to what was safest and easiest. So you do not agree with your description of what happened on the scene.
You don't agree with my description. I'm pointing out what the photo is. There are agents here who have long guns and ballistic shields. Let's take a look at the hardened criminals that your Justice Department sent these armed agents to go terrorize.
Yeah, look at a guy and his wife and his 7 children. Terror alert, terror alert. I'm Catholic myself. I'm Roman Catholic. I take personal offense to this. But it's not just about Catholics. It's about any ideology that goes against their religion. And the progressive religion is power and control. You think a certain way, you act a certain way. My religion, as I'm Roman Catholic. But their religion, since they don't have one, is their ideology.
On that morning, here they are at Mass. Here's the 7 children with Mr. Houck and his wife. In this early morning, they were all at home. Mrs. Houck has said repeatedly the children were screaming. They feared for their lives. You got these agents demanding that he come out. They've got the guns, she said, pointing at the house and at them. He has offered to turn himself in. And this is who you go to terrorize.
Of course, because if he turns himself in, it doesn't send a message to the rest of, they think, religious zealots and anti-abortion people. They're doing the ideological bid of the progressives as the Attorney General. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure it out.
What's really interesting to me is this seems to directly contradict your own memorandum about the use of force at the Justice Department. You say officers may use only the force that is objectively reasonable to effectively control an incident. Are you telling me?
Objectively reasonable. We're going to use all the power that we can to scare the bejesus out of these people, and more importantly, scare the hell out of tens of thousands of others. They want to act and think like them.
That in your opinion as Attorney General, it was objectively necessary to use 20 or 30 SWAT-style agents with long guns and ballistic shields?
Look at the aide in the back smiling. He knows. He knows they got him. They got him. For
these people?
What I'm saying is that decisions about how to go about this were made on the ground by FBI agents.
So you're saying you don't know?
I'm saying what I just said.
Which is that you're abdicating responsibility?
I'm not abdicating responsibility.
Then give me the answer. Do you think, in your opinion, you are the Attorney General of the United States? You are in charge of the Justice Department. And yes, sir, you are responsible. So give me an answer.
The FBI does not agree with your description.
I'm not asking about the FBI. You are the Attorney General. Give me your answer. Do you think that it was objectively reasonable and they followed your guidelines in sending 20 to 30 armed agents to terrorize these people? Yes or no?
The facts I have, which are those presented by the FBI, are not consistent with your description.
So you think it was reasonable?
I'm saying the facts are not as you describe.
What, that the children weren't there? That there weren't long guns there? That there weren't agents? What do you dispute?
Yeah, look at the aide smile. What you're describing it incorrectly. He's describing it perfectly. He just like to be called on the carpet on it. It's amazing to me. What's going to happen is the pushback from the American people is going to be great, it's going to be powerful, and it's going to be strong. Let's listen on.
What's the factual premise you dispute? Be
FBI
specific.
Said they don't agree with your description of...
Be specific. They don't agree with what?
Of how many agents, of the agents who were there, and of what their roles were. They don't agree.
Do you know the jury in this case acquitted Mr. Houck? I'm sure you're aware. Do you know how long it took him?
I am aware, and we respect the decision of the jury.
Do you know how long it took him?
Because they don't care about if the guy was found guilty or not by the jury. This is to send a message. We will destroy your life. We will terrorize you if you disagree with our abortion ideology. If you're a conservative person, especially religious one, you are now our enemy. They couldn't make it any clearer.
Don't know.
1 hour. 1 hour. Philadelphia District Attorney declines to prosecute. The private suit's dismissed. You use an unbelievable show of force with guns that I just note liberals usually decry. We're supposed to hate long guns and assault-style weapons. You're happy to deploy them against Catholics and innocent children. Happy to. And then you haul him into court and a jury acquits him in 1 hour.
Yeah, look at the aide smirking because he knows. And that's not a negative smirk. That's a positive smirk. How can you possibly scroll out of this? He's thinking, we've got you. We've got you by the short hairs. And he just sits there fidgeting and looking around. This is the new. new law enforcement at the federal level. Think like we think or keep your mouth shut.
I just suggest to you that that is a disgraceful performance by your Justice Department and a disgraceful use of resources. I notice a pattern, though. The FBI field office in Richmond on the 23rd of January of this year issued a memorandum in which they advocated for, and I quote, the exploration of new avenues for tripwire and source development against traditionalist Catholics, it's their language, including those who favor the Latin Mass.
Yeah, that's the Orthodox Catholics. They favor the old Latin Mass. Those who are not familiar, I believe it was the 1960s, they switched from Latin to English. I remember as a young boy because I did my baptism, my first Holy Communion, and my confirmation in the Roman Catholic Church, and was also married in one. They're going after the Orthodox Catholics. It's amazing to me. Let's listen on.
Attorney General, are you cultivating sources and spies in Latin Mass parishes and other Catholic parishes around the country?
No, the Justice Department does not do that. It does not do investigations based on religion. I saw the document you have.
What did you do about it?
It's appalling. It's appalling. I'm in complete agreement.
Okay, it's appalling. It's appalling. I noticed his next remark was, and we fired and severely reprimanded X amount of agents. Not a peep. They can do whatever they want to, and when they're caught, nothing happens.
With you, I understand that the FBI has withdrawn it, and it's now looking into how this could ever have happened.
How did it happen?
That's what they're looking into, but I'm totally in agreement with you. That document is appalling.
I'll tell you how it happened. This memorandum, which is supposed to be intelligent, cites extensively the Southern Poverty Law Center, which goes on to identify all of these different Catholics as being part of hate groups. Is this how the FBI, under your direction and leadership, is this how they do their intelligence work? They look at left-wing advocacy groups to target Catholics?
That's exactly what they do because they're on the same page. Their ideology is their religion, whereas these people and millions of others, it's not. Their religion is God-given religion, whether it be Baptist, Protestant, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, everything. There's nothing, a devout Orthodox Muslim is very conservative, but I noticed they're not going after them. Isn't that interesting?
Is this what's going on? I mean, clearly it is. How is this happening?
The FBI is not targeting Catholics, and as I've said, this is an inappropriate memorandum, and it doesn't reflect the methods that the FBI is supposed to be using.
Except for now. We're using the federal government as a weapon to go against our ideological and political enemies. Like I said, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure it out.
Should not be relying on any single organization without doing its own work.
Let me just ask you, as my time expires here, a very direct question. How many informants do you have in Catholic churches across America?
I don't know, and I don't believe we have any informants aimed at Catholic churches.
I don't know, and then I believe we don't have any. Those are two contradictory things in the same sentence.
Have a rule against investigations based on First Amendment activity and Catholic churches.
First Amendment activity, it's your FBI as Attorney General of the United States that gave millions to social media companies to stifle and keep speech off their platforms. Millions. And it's your former FBI agents, after they retire, now work for these social media companies. And in fact, I think it was in Twitter, there are so many former FBI agents at Twitter, they formed their own little club.
These are obviously First Amendment activity, but I don't know the specific answer to your question.
You don't know
First he says there isn't any. Now he says he doesn't know
the specifics of anything, it seems, but apparently on your watch, this Justice Department is targeting Catholics, targeting people of faith, specifically for their faith views. And Mr. Attorney General, I'll just say to you, it's a disgrace.
And it is a disgrace. And there you have it. There you have it. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do? And I'm going to say this again. And sometimes I say this with anger, and sometimes I say this with empathy. Biden voters, This is what you voted for. And to say that, well, I didn't know. Okay. Well, you know now. You vote for Democrats at any level after this, for at least 10 years, you are part of the problem. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.